The Caldo Ventus, a steel adrift in the black vastness of the Atlantic, carried a crew chasing a secret.
Their key to the abyss was the Argonaut, a pressurized sphere designed to withstand the crushing weight of the deep. At dawn, the descent began. The Argonaut transformed from a suspended weight to a neutrally buoyant vessel.
They fell through layers of the ocean. Sunlight faded to blue.
The deep was a realm of punctuation, not substance. Moments of cold chemical fire in an absolute dark.
With every meter, pressure mounted. The sphere groaned as the ocean squeezed.
The bottom was a barren plain. Here, the wreck of the Laurentic had become an oasis, an artificial reef in the desert of the deep.
They found the wreck in pieces. First, coal. Then, the shattered architecture of the ship.
Their search focused on the ruptured cargo holds. Somewhere in that chaos of silt and steel.
Hours accumulated, pass after pass through the permanent night. The cold seeped in. They watched for a gleam that refused to appear.
The thing is took
The manipulator arm revealed what they sought, a rectangular ingot, subdued under ocean coating, but its density was unmistakable. Gold. 12 kilograms of elemental wealth, resting where it had fallen 8 decades earlier. The search became a harvest.
Each full bag was sent upwards on a tether, an umbilical exchange between the depths and the world of air, carrying millions in silence.
After 14 hours on the bottom, with batteries low and air growing stale, it was time to ascend. The wreck site would wait for tomorrow. The 3-hour ascent was a reversal of their journey. They returned through the layers, leaving the realm of pressure for the world of light. The sphere was hauled from the sea, a metal womb returning its occupants from a day in a space smaller than a broom closet. The operation settled into a rhythm. Dawn descents, dusk returns. Each bar was tagged, photographed, cross-referenced. Wealth created to fund one war, now resurrected from the deep.
With the gold secured below, the ship turned for port. The crew rested, the exhausting cycle of dive operations finally broken.
The final stage began on the recovery deck. The treasure could not simply be wheelbarrowed ashore. Every bar required an unbroken chain of custody.
Gold is immutable. It does not rust or corrode. Beneath the ocean's coating, the metal retained its latent, patient luster.
As the last bar was cleaned, the team gathered. Before them lay the entire recovered fortune, row after row of history made tangible.
She felt the weight of months of planning, weeks of execution, translated into this tangible, verifiable reality.
Beneath her fingers lay 12 kilograms of elemental wealth, but also 12 kilograms of history, finally reclaimed. Each processed the accomplishment differently. Technical challenges overcome, grinding tedium, the simple proof that persistence could triumph.
The moment stretched, suspended between completion and whatever came next. The fortune waited.
The sun's last light performed its own alchemy, turning retrieved metal into pools of liquid fire, a final gift from the surface world.
Each stamp told a story of a mint, a refiner, a nation's promise. Stories submerged.
The journey continued, from seabed to ship, from ship to truck. The gold began its reintegration into the world's bloodstream of wealth.
Every transfer was witnessed, documented, sealed. An unbroken chain of custody was the final, crucial step of the salvage. A shared release. The weight of responsibility, of guarding a king's ransom, was now passing to others.
The deck was cleansed. The evidence of the deep was washed away, leaving only the memory of what had lain there moments before.
For the first time in months, there was no next dive to plan, no sonar composite to study, no bottom current to calculate.
They toasted with tired smiles. Not with champagne, but with strong coffee and a silence that spoke more than any speech. The ship rested. Her decks, so recently a stage for high-stakes industry. Some souvenirs were official, others were personal, a fragment of the past, a tactile memory of the wreck's reality.
The team dispersed. The intense, cloistered unity of the mission would fade, replaced by the scattered normalcy of individual lives. The memories would not be of gold, but of light in the dark, of a world so alien, yet briefly visited. You don't look back at the instrument of your success. You carry what you learned, and you walk forward.
Their private accomplishment became public record, a brief ripple in the vast pond of global commerce.
The fortune was converted. The weight of gold became the weight of numbers, a different kind of abstraction.
Some returned to the sea in memory, crafting miniature versions of the giant that started it all.
Others shared the knowledge, turning adventure into academia, inspiring the next generation of explorers.
The bars found their final resting place, for now. Another vault, another form of darkness, another weight. Eventually, identity is erased. The stamped history of the Laurent bars was consumed by fire, returning to pure potential. It would become jewelry, circuitry, investment. Its past in the abyss was now just a footnote in an assay report.
We recover things to remember, to prove that time.
The ocean that was an adversary became a view again, a place of beauty, not just crushing pressure and impossible dark.
The sea hadn't changed. It remained vast, indifferent, capable of giving and taking.
Ships and submersibles find new purposes. The tools of treasure hunting become tools of pure discovery. The real legacy of the wreck was biological. A city for strange life, born from tragedy, studied for the future. The site returned to quiet. The currents shifted silt over the scar. The Laurentix's reef continued its slow, blind evolution.
In the end, they were storytellers, weaving the threads of pressure, darkness, and human grit.
The fortune was never just gold. It was the depth of the challenge and the height of what a team could achieve.
And in the dark, where it all began, a cold fire still burns.
Their success funded new frontiers. The technology forged in the gold hunt now aimed for the Hadal trenches, for pure science.
The patience of the abyss translated to patience in the light. Preservation, not just extraction, became the creed.
The gold entered the global stream, a few molecules perhaps in a microchip, a dental filling, a wedding band. Its origin forgotten. Transformation was the constant. From ore to bar, from bar to relic, from relic back to bar, and now to art.
It carried new stories now. Promises of love and future, far removed from minds, manifests, or the crushing dark.
The stories were passed, not through official reports, but in dockside conversations, a silent inheritance of institutional memory.
The true record was not gold, but data. A map of the deep, a ledger of loss, waiting for the next curious mind. The mission's value compounded in ways they couldn't measure, in inspired students, in refined technology, in a deeper understanding of the abyss.
The focus had shifted from what was taken to what was left behind, and the ecosystem that grew from it. The circle closed. The keeper of the experience now became a source, ensuring the story lived beyond the participants. The call to explore is passed down in whispers, in bedtime stories, in the simple act of wondering what lies beneath.
The memory that surfaced most was not of fear or gold, but of awe.
It was very dark and very beautiful, and we were very careful visitors.
The story was complete. The weight of it was now on the page, not on her shoulders. She could finally rest.
The tale entered the world. A secret of the deep, once held by 3 people in a sphere, was now available to anyone.
For a few hours, that reader would descend into the blackness, feel the sphere creak, and hunt for gold in the silt.
On the surface, there was no marker, no monument, just the eternal shift of water.
Science now kept watch. Not for treasure, but for time.
The ocean, in its slow motion, still held surprises. A final bar, waiting for the next shift. The signal went out, a whisper from the deep. It was logged in an automated database, unflagged, unseen by human eyes.
The cycle threatened to begin anew. The call of the deep is perennial, answered by each generation with new tools, new questions.
He read the old reports, saw the names of the crew. They were legends to him, pioneers who had pushed the boundary of the possible. The past was not dead. It was a conversation partner, a guide for the next descent into the unknown.
She felt the old pull, not of greed, but of unfinished symmetry. The deep had one more card to play.
He understood. It wasn't a no. It was a passing of the torch and a lesson in where true value lies. The gold would stay. It had become part of the deep's fabric, a seed for future stories.
She felt a peace she hadn't known before. The story was truly complete. It had an ending, and it was a good one. The choice to leave it be settled in her, not as a compromise, but as a new principle for engaging with the deep.
He argued for a new metric of value, not by what we extract, but by what we learn from what we leave undisturbed.
Mementos were enough. They held the truth of the experience, the grit, and the camaraderie, better than any ingot could.
The fortune, once concentrated, was now diffuse, funding exploration.
He sought the simplicity of surface tension, the gentle resistance of water that yielded, that did not threaten to crush.
The fight against pressure continued, but in controlled environments, pushing materials further, building better vessels for the next generation.
The age of thunderous machinery on the surface gave way to the age of silent, precise drones in the depths.
We stood on the shoulders of engineers, and we hope we built sturdy enough shoulders for those who come next.
The past resurfaced in digital form, the triumphant moment, now a historical artifact itself, viewed with the soft focus of nostalgia.
He saw what the camera had truly captured. Not wealth, but human endeavor, etched into every expression.
The story was refined with each retelling. The goal became the setting, not the plot. The people were the plot.
The intelligence of the deep fascinated her until the end. A different kind of treasure, alive and shimmering behind glass. It was the closest she had been to that world in decades. A barrier of inches, not miles.
The Laurentic recovery is seen as a pivotal moment. It marked the end of pure extraction, the beginning of ethical oceanography.
They found a fragile rights.
The user prompt provides a detailed script and voiceover, but also explicitly states audio.
The Sentinel was not human, not greedy, not tired. It was a perpetual student.
It noted the density, classified it as anthropogenic substrate, and continued its primary mission, monitoring the health of the reef.
Life, at every scale, claimed everything.
The great engine of the ocean turned, indifferent. It had swallowed a ship, given up most of its gold. From space, it was nothing. A coordinate, a secret held in blue. But for those who knew, it glowed with the memory of human endeavor.
And so the weight was past. Not the weight of metal, but the weight of story. The true fortune.
The story felt complete, yet it left her with a quiet restlessness. It was a tale of looking down.
Her inheritance was not a lust for treasure, but a profound respect for the ocean as a complex, fragile, driving force.
She saw patterns her ancestors couldn't. The sea they crossed as a hostile void was.
It was time for her own descent. Not into crushing dark, but into vibrant, threatened light.
This was the ocean's other face, not silent and crushing, but chatty, bustling, and desperately holding on.
The connection was made. The family line, once defined by conquering depth, was now defined by understanding connection. She performed a new salvage operation. She recovered the sunken value of a living ocean, and the numbers were astronomically higher.
The gold found its highest purpose as a unit of conversion, making the abstract value of preservation concrete.
The story evolved again, from adventure to memoir to ethical guide, and now to a foundational
She placed her hand where her ancestors' hand might have been on the cold titanium. The weight was symbolic now. A fragment of captured sunlight from an ancient forest, lost at sea.
The past and the future sat side by side. One, a remnant of extraction. The other, an investment in life. In its data was a note of hope. The Laurentic Reef was stable. Biodiversity metrics were holding steady. The Sentinel reported health.
This was the real treasure. Not recovery, but stewardship. Not lifting weight, but maintaining balance.
The sea keeps its secrets and its percentages.